I'm Megan.
I'm CJ.
And I'm Erica.
And this is the Her Podcast.
Okay, today we're sitting down with mother of two, content creator, and former Miss Universe contestant Siera Bearchell. Siera was so down to earth. I really didn't know what to expect. I've obviously stalked her on Instagram a little bit, but it's always interesting meeting people in real life. And you guys, she was such a gem, so friendly. We had such a great conversation with her. We are chatting with Siera about what life looks like after being a part of the Miss Universe pageant and the media blitz she walked into, how the learnings and experience from her pageant journey impacted her choices, values, and career path as an adult, and navigating the press and social media while leading a body positive conversation worldwide, even if it happened by accident. This one is so good. We know you guys are going to enjoy it.
Mine is on. Yours is on?
Yeah, everyone's on.
Everybody's on.
We're on.
Everybody is on. Welcome here. Thank you so much for making time for us.
Seriously.
It is truly my pleasure.
You're a busy lady, we know.
So are you guys?
Oh, just a little.
Just a little.
Just a little bit. Yeah. Just a little bit busy.
4 podcasts tomorrow. That's crazy.
That's too
that's
much.
a lot.
It's a
Yeah.
lot. Yeah.
But that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Things
So
happen.
many great conversations. Wait, why? Were there...
No, we just had to switch our Airbnb. Like, we had a different Airbnb, and then last minute it was like, we can't stay there, so we had to find this one.
Which, like,
no
in
way.
Stampede, like,
Yeah.
5 days before.
I know.
And we were like,
Was it not enough space kind of thing?
No, it just like the booking got like all of a
fell
sudden it was
through.
like it fell through. So we were like, okay, we'll book a new place. And then we were about to book and we're like, wait, but we can only get in at 4 and we have to podcast all day today. So we need to book the night before, like have an extra, right? So you have the full
Oh my
day.
gosh, of
And then we just like
course.
flew out.
So then we just
No
changed our
way.
flights. Yeah. It was a little bit of a schmozzle.
Wow.
Here we are.
hey, there you are, using my words.
I know. I was like, as I was
Schmozzle.
saying
I
it, I
know.
was like, where is this coming from?
Sound like an 80-year-old woman.
We have so many questions for you.
Okay, sorry. I'll
No,
oh
oh
my
my
gosh,
gosh, we love this. No, we love
What
this.
Airbnb? What?
Yeah, you're so good. We have
We
so
love
many
it.
questions for you. But what we really want to get into first, and maybe everyone wants to get into this, I don't know, but we're like, we have no idea about the pageant world.
Yeah, okay. Most people
And so we
don't.
want to like go backwards first, you
Yes.
know, like we want to get caught up to like where you are now. But like, you're from Saskatchewan,
Yes.
like small
Moose
town,
Jaw.
right?
Moose Jaw,
You know?
baby.
So
I
I'm
was
like,
I don't know how she
we're
found
like,
pageants
how
in Moose Jaw.
did you get into the pageant world? Right? And how did that, so I'm like, just start us off with like sort of your story and where that all came from.
Of course. So I was scrolling Facebook, the social media at the time. I was 16 years old and I came across this ad and it was for Miss Teen Saskatchewan. And I had never watched a pageant. I knew nothing about pageantry. I had never even seen Miss Congeniality.
Oh my gosh.
I know. And it said something like, become a leader in your community or something like that. And just I think 2 weeks before, I can't even remember now, we had lost our home to a house fire actually. And we were helped a lot by the Red Cross. And I don't even remember how it happened, but I was really interested in wanting to work with the Red Cross. So like talking to other young people and maybe finding that connection of like, you're not alone, like we're in this together, you know, something like that. So I had started doing some things with the Red Cross because they had helped us. So I saw this ad and I was like, oh, maybe I could help elevate the platform of Red Cross with this pageant, whatever this means. It says be a leader. So that must mean something. Entered the pageant, went from Moose Jaw to Saskatoon.
You were like, here we go.
Yeah, here we go, big city. yeah, I won Miss Teen Saskatchewan and then I went on to win Miss Teen Canada World.
What did
And
you have to do? In
so
like,
that one was very much, and the misconception I would say is that it's all about physical beauty, talent. So like on stage doing a dance or something, it's very personality and community driven. So they do a lot of interviews. So at the Miss Teen Saskatchewan, there was like a panel interview and they basically say like, why are you here? Like, why would you want to win this title? What would you do with this title? What would you do with the platform? So of course I said what I said to you guys. Well, we lost our home to a house fire. The Red Cross helped us so much. I want to be able to, you know, raise up that platform and showcase the amazing work the Red Cross does, have other young people like me not feel so alone if they've been through some kind of disaster. I mean, they had the floods here in Calgary, 10 years ago now, I can't remember, but the Red Cross did so much for that. So anyway, I won that. and one Miss Teen Saskatchewan, one Miss Teen Canada. And the opportunities that I was exposed to, that I had because of that, were incredible. Like things that I never knew that I could do. I got to go to Kenya and build a school with Free the Children. At 16.
Wow.
I was speaking at We Day, which
Oh,
was
yeah.
a big,
Wow.
big
Do they still do We Day?
No, I don't think so. It's a whole thing. So I think there was like a scandal with like them owning, like the charity owned a bunch of real estate in Toronto or something. I don't know.
Okay,
Don't
wait a
quote me.
second.
Don't quote me.
Yes, that's familiar. Okay,
Yes. So
continue.
anyway, at the time, it was not like that that I was aware of.
Yes.
And I got to speak at We Day in front of 16,000 young people in Vancouver, Toronto at 16 years old, which was pretty
Wow.
cool.
Yeah.
And so that was my entry into the pageant world. And from there, because of all the networking I did at 16, I really felt like I kind of had an edge on other 16 to 18-year-olds because I had had all these experiences. So when I went to university, I had already had some of those like adult life experiences, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
And so then I was like, you know what? All these amazing opportunities as a teen, what could I one day do at one of the bigger pageants? So I then learned about Miss Universe Canada, which to me is like the ultimate pageant is Miss Universe. It was hosted by Steve Harvey. It's just kind of like the ultimate pageant. Once you know a little bit about pageants, it was on TV, on Fox. And so I thought, I want to represent Canada at Miss Universe. So that kind of became my goal. And I first entered Miss Universe Canada in 2013. I was 20, and I reached out to like a coach kind of person because I thought, okay, this is the next level.
And
I
like,
need some
where did you
guidance.
find that coach?
She was in Toronto, and I met her
Okay.
through the teen pageant world.
Okay.
But at this level, the first thing she said to me is like, okay, you need to get as skinny as possible. So you need to lose about 10 pounds. And I was like, what? It's like, it didn't even cross my mind about, because to me, that's not what it was about. And I expressed that. And she said, well, this is like, you know, basically the big leagues. Like, this isn't a teen pageant anymore. This is like your body matters, how skinny, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, well, if that's what I have to do. But I was quite slim. So I was like, how am I going to do this? So I basically was starving myself. I was eating as little as possible, working out until I basically couldn't work out anymore. And I went to the pageant. I ended up being first runner up. But it was a blessing in disguise because I had lost so much of my confidence. I had started on this path of, this is not why I started this pageant thing, right? Like, this is not, even if I were to have won, I'm not representing why I started this.
Right.
And that was to, like, you know, use this platform to help others or, you know, raise the voice of others. And so I decided I still want to win this, but I'm going to do it my way. So I gave myself 3 years to get more life experience. I then was in law school. And so I entered on my terms. I had no coaches, no nothing. I just went there. I was myself. I was like, this is who I am. I was curvier, but like, even you could still see my abs and stuff, you know, but very unfortunately with that, I won, which is great. The first thing that the team said to me in Toronto is, okay, you have everything it takes to win Miss Universe, but you don't have the Miss Universe body. And I was like, what the hell does that mean?
Yeah.
Like, what is that? What is a Miss Universe body? Like, I thought Miss Universe is about representing the women of the world, showcasing we're all different, we're unique.
Yeah.
Beauty is not in a size. So that, without trying, became my platform. And that was showcasing that women come in all different shapes and sizes, and we can be confident regardless of size. And then I went to Miss Universe, held in the Philippines. And what's very interesting is I became like the token curvy girl. They were calling me plus size. Like, I had an interviewer saying,
Which is like, what size would you say that you were?
I
when
would have
they
been
were-
about a size 8 because I was about 10, 15 pounds more than I am now.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, like, I had this lady say, like, from one plus size woman to another. She was interviewing me, like, standing right in front of me. And I was like, well, I've never really categorized my size or my shape into any category. But as a woman, this is how I feel. And so it was very interesting that sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say it's like all those videos when like Next Top Model.
Yeah.
And it would be like like our plus size model. And
Right.
it was like someone who
Is a size
would
plus
not be.
6
And
to
I'm
8.
sure actual plus size models are like, excuse me.
I know.
Like,
I know.
they're
Wow.
not.
Right. Well, and
Okay.
funny enough, Ashley Graham actually was the backstage host.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, which
That's
is super
wild.
cool. So I got to like meet
Yeah.
her. We have like pictures and stuff together. And she came up to me and she was like, Miss Canada, I heard that there's a plus size girl competing, whatever. And she was like, but what size are you? And I was like, well, I'm a size 8, whatever. And I kind of shared with her like this, I didn't come here trying to be the whatever they're trying to make me. This is what people have said. And on my social at the time, people were calling me fat, overweight. People said I was promoting obesity. Yeah.
Good Lord.
It was really bad. It was really, and like, I was even getting messages, that were like, people were very, I don't even know what the word is. Hateful doesn't seem to cover. People were saying like, you should kill yourself because you don't belong anywhere, let alone Miss Universe. Yeah. It was intense, but luckily I'd reached that point where I was like, I'm so confident in who I am. These people are like outrageous. I think I also was like, clearly I'm shaking something up here because people are very triggered by me just being here. And what was so interesting, there were other women same size as me. Like I just,
in Miss Universe?
Yes. It was very odd that I just kind of became, I don't know, the advocate for someone who wasn't a size 0. Like that's kind of how I don't know. Yeah, it was interesting. But in saying all that, like at the time, if you would have Googled Miss Universe at the time, it was all articles like Miss Canada.
Remember.
Yeah, Miss Canada claps back at body shamers. It was like Vogue, Time, Elle, CBC, CTV. So I was like, you know what? If this is bringing light to just being yourself and showing up even when you're told that you're not good enough, then let's go with it, because it ended up being a very important message to share.
Yeah. At what point were you like, holy heck, this is happening? Like, here we go. Like, was there a point where you were like, okay, well, they've told me I need to lose weight, whatever, I'm going to be me. But like, was there a point where you were like, oh my goodness, what am I doing?
Yeah.
How do I do this?
When I was on my way to the Philippines, which is where the pageant was, my team, I kind of felt like they gave up on me, if that makes sense. Like I went to the Philippines without gowns. I didn't even have a gown for Miss Universe. And that's one of the biggest like areas of competition.
So who was the team? Sorry.
So this was my national director. He was like the main person.
Okay.
And then they have like a few other kind of helping people. But in Canada, as you guys know, pageants are not a big deal.
Yeah.
In some countries like the Philippines, the woman who wins Miss Universe Philippines is an instant celebrity. She has full-time security, an apartment, car. She's making like a lot of money. Like it's next level.
Wow.
Like you get all kinds of endorsements, whatever. Here it's just not like that, and that's okay. So I went there very unprepared, but I was like, well, hopefully something will happen. I ended up getting some gowns from local designers. But when I was on my way there, I had moments where I'm like, what's the point of going?
Yeah.
'Cause, like, I felt like I had no support from my family. I did, but not from my so-called team. And so I showed up there, I got my Canada sash. I'm like, I'm so proud. Like, this was a goal I had. And then maybe it was like a day or two in, I started to feel like, okay, this is totally not what I was even expecting, but let's roll with it. And I just really made the most of it. Like, I really was like, I don't even care if I place, if I win. I've been able to be this voice for not just women, but anyone who's ever felt like they didn't belong in a scenario, and people from all angles are telling them like, you don't belong. I was able to be that advocate, be that voice unintentionally.
Yeah.
And so it was a pretty cool experience. And then I ended up placing in the top 13 and then in the top 9, and Canada had not placed in 10 years. So
That's
Wow.
amazing.
yeah, so yeah, it was good. It
How
worked
many
out.
people go to Miss Universe?
How many women are competing?
Yeah.
86
Okay.
that year.
Okay.
86 women from around the world, 86
Wow.
countries
Wow.
were there that year.
Wow.
What is it? So, because we obviously as spectators just see it happening on the TV, but what does the lead up look like? Like, how long in advance were you there?
We were there for 3 weeks.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. And so all you see is a 2-hour show, maybe 3 hours. I think it was 3 at the time. And for those 3 weeks, you're doing all kinds of interviews with media, with judges. And a big part that a lot of people don't think about, that you obviously don't see, is the Miss Universe organization, the chaperones. They're taking note of how the women treat everyone, how they treat volunteers. Yes, because when I competed, there was a contestant who did not place, that all the pageant fans were like, how did she not place? Like, she was a shoo-in, and she was incredibly rude behind the scenes. She was so disrespectful. So even us like fellow contestants were like, there's no, like, we didn't say this out loud, but like we felt like there's no way she's going to place because of how she's treating everyone.
Yeah.
And she actually went on to do media interviews afterwards and said that like Miss Canada didn't deserve to place. I deserved her place. Like, there were people actually as well, by people I mean contestants, who did like a video and they're like, we're gonna eat donuts and get fat like Miss Canada so we can place. Yeah, like right after the pageant. I know.
Wow.
I know. So most women are very kind, very supportive, but there are always some.
Well, it's women, unfortunately.
I know, it's so sad.
Right? It is unfortunate that I think that is too common, the narrative, right?
It's sad.
Summer is finally here, and in Saskatchewan, you have to take full advantage of the sunny days, which means headed to the lake. You know I'm all about fashion, and that means I want to be looking and feeling cute in my swimsuit, which is why I love my Freckle swimsuit. I have the Icon one piece in white, and I love it. Freckle swimwear pieces are double-lined in super soft and sustainable fabric with an element of compression for nice, comfortable, and breathable support. Locally designed here right in Saskatoon and made sustainably in Canada, Freckle's current iconic collection offers 3 pieces in multiple color options. The Icon one piece, which is the style I have, the retro hue bottom, and the Icon top, which hot tip looks great as a crop top with a pair of jeans and a linen shirt. I also wear my Icon one piece as a bodysuit and always get tons of compliments on it, which is kind of great when you can wear it to the beach or out and about. You know we have an exclusive discount code for our HER listeners, which means you can use code HER15 to save 15% on your online purchase. Freckle is rooted in celebrating individuality in all aspects of life, and they want you to feel amazing in your swimwear and confident in your purchase, which is why they offer easy returns and exchanges, and a detailed sizing guide online. Follow along with Freckle on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at Freckle Swimwear, but listen up because it's not spelt the way you think. That's FREKL Swimwear. Make sure to go and check out the iconic collection now, and remember to use code HER15 to save. That's code HER15 to save 15% online. Happy shopping, friends. So after you competed and you placed, because you got 9th, right? Like
in the top 9.
In the top 9.
Yeah.
What happened next?
What happened next? I did a ton of media. So I was getting a lot of requests for podcast interviews, phone interviews, Zoom interviews. I did some in person in Saskatchewan.
Yep.
And then nothing. I don't know what else really happened next. I returned to law school, but my social media really grew.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I keep hitting the mic.
That's okay.
And my social media really grew, and I just kept going with that message of like, love yourself for who you are. And then that kind of has paved the path to where I am today with social media. But yeah, nothing really like in particular happened. It just, my social grew, and then I just kind of kept in the pageant space a little bit. But I felt like if people had questions for me about pageants, I'd be like, amazing opportunities, but you really have to be confident in who you are. Because if you're in a scenario like I was, where there's all these people telling me that I wasn't good enough the way I was, that could really break you down if you hadn't really, grown that confidence.
So would you say a lot of people, I'm so curious, right? Like would have more of an experience like you did with pageants? Because I think you've come out and been like, I was able to know myself. So I left it very confident, and like I can see the opportunity I had and I took it and I like went with it. Do you think there's a lot of women who go into it and come out
not?
Yeah, like more
Damaged?
self-conscious. Yeah, like it's a toxic environment for some people.
I think for some, absolutely. That's a good question, because I do get a lot of questions, emails, whatever it might be about how do I best prepare to win this, whatever. And I'm always like, you have to work on yourself first. I know that sounds so cliche, but I think that some people who go in with their only goal is to win, then a lot of times they're going to leave a little bit, I don't want to say scarred.
Jaded maybe?
Yeah,
or like,
maybe.
and
I
impacted
think,
negatively?
Yeah, and I think when you go in with some other reasons beyond just winning or beyond just trying to be Instagram famous or something like that, I think that you are going to be disappointed, because even if you do win, you're almost like, what do I do with this? Right? So I think it's a mix. Some people are like, amazing opportunities, and other people are like, oh, this isn't what I expected, because they maybe didn't reach their end goal. I think it's a mix.
What would you say the dynamic like behind the scenes amongst the other contestants and yours? Like, what did you find? Did you create friendships? Was it everybody kind of kept it themselves? Was it like, we know those girls aren't very nice, let's stay over here? Like, what was it like for you?
It was pretty supportive. It really was.
Yeah.
Like, even to this day, I have like Miss Cayman Islands
Aw.
who is always like messaging me about like my kids and is like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh. So hopefully we can reconnect. I've reconnected with some of the girls, even ones who, for example, there was Miss USA 2014. So I was in the 2017 year, but 2016 edition.
Okay.
Women from different years that I've met, that I've been in touch with still, that I've met up with, and so on.
Yeah.
Overall, supportive. The
Right.
women really are. Like, they're cheering each other on. And so, like, if you watch the videos when women place, like, you can tell, like, who's friends sometimes if you know, because you can see that they're really, like, clapping and, like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, like, go, you know, France or whoever it is.
Yeah.
But definitely, there's, like, in any environment, there's people who are not as supportive. But overall, it would surprise people how kind the women are.
You say that people are asking you questions.
Yeah.
Do you coach?
I did for a while.
Okay.
I did for a while because I felt like I had a lot to share. I still have a lot to share. But I just got too busy. I feel like, because I'm like, if I can't give it my all, like give these women, answering them at any opportunity, they're texting me from the pageant and they're calling me.
Right.
I feel like I want to be able to be there for any question, any phone call, and I just felt like I couldn't. So I do have a pageant ebook that women can utilize, and it has all my tips and tricks, and like I even give like a series of questions that the judges might ask that I was asked at Miss Universe.
Yep.
Interview questions, all that kind of stuff. So I did coach for a while, and it was so much fun. I had women who were at Miss Universe Iceland competing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so fun competing for Miss USA. So it's really cool. Yeah, like women around the world competing for their country, and
Yeah.
that was a really cool kind of experience, whatever you want to say. But I just got too busy to keep doing it.
I like hearing this because I think the only vision I have of pageants is Miss Congeniality
Congeniality.
or Toddlers and Tiaras.
Oh, yeah.
Which I know. And I'm saying this to be like, I appreciate hearing this, because I'm like, when that's all you think, you're like,
I know.
But then to hear even the fact that you're like, they're watching us behind the scenes to see like who's genuinely
like,
kind.
that's-
Because I think the perception is, look at this pretty girl in a gown.
For
And it's
sure.
not about all the other things. And I love that it is about more. I think that's so important.
You had kind of just shared that the a misconception would be like the women aren't supportive. What are some maybe other misconceptions about the pageant world that you've heard?
A lot of misconceptions are kind of what you said, that it's the gown, it's the swimsuit competition, when it's so much more behind the scenes. Like the judges as well, when they're watching and they've already interviewed you, they're looking for more than just who has like the most beautiful gown. They're really looking for like the confidence on stage. And I think they remember, what happened in the interview. So they're already kind of looking for Miss Columbia because that was the favorite or whatever it might be. So I think the misconception is that it's only about what we see on TV, but it really is so much more.
There's weeks beforehand.
Weeks.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like advocacy is really important for you,
is.
in showing up for different things that you believe in and organizations and probably like causes and that type of thing. And so I'm curious how you found your space, like you said, sort of in social media now, in basically being able to have a platform, like you had this thing happen in your family's life with like Red Cross and you were like, okay, how do I go forward? And now basically you've built a platform where you're able to bring about probably so much advocacy to all of these, different issues and things. And so I'm curious, what some of the things that you're most passionate about sharing on your social platforms.
Sure. So with my social now, I'm a mom of 2. And so all the things I used to talk about.
I love both your children, but I'm just like,
Always in a
Lily
princess
is just
gown.
like,
Love it.
so next level,
She's so funny. I know. No, I know. She's hilarious. Yeah. She's something. That's for sure. Yeah. She's 4 and she wears what she wants for sure.
Literally, I can't wait till she has her own,
Yeah, she actually had me record a YouTube video for her the other day. I did it. It wasn't like posted or anything like that. But you guys, I almost like cry thinking about the freaking end. She was like, oh my God, I can hardly say it without crying. She was like, hope you ascribe. And that's the end of the video. Ascribe. Hope you ascribe. I was like,
Don't ever correct her.
No, I did
Ascribe.
not. I did not.
Never.
I know.
So sweet.
It's so sweet. Children are so innocent. Anyway,
Yeah,
I'm so sorry. Off
No,
track.
you're great.
So sorry.
We love
Now we're
it.
talking
We love
about-
tangents. We love tangents.
So my platform now, I feel like it's kind of transformed obviously a little bit, but I still really love sharing. Like, have you guys seen the aging filter on TikTok? So I just shared a video with the aging TikTok filter. And at first I was like, do I share that? You know, I didn't know almost what to, because I'm like, oh, this is myself in a not as flattering light, if you will. And then I'm like, wait, why am I thinking that? And as well, okay, this is like going all over the place, but when I did the aging filter, I expected to be kind of like fearful of like, oh my gosh, like that's what I'm going to look like when I'm older. But instead I kind of got emotional. I was like, wow, like there's the woman who has like seen her kids grow up and like so many more memories. But I think as women, we're so scared of aging because society is constantly telling us anti-aging, Botox, filler, whatever. So
You look so good for your age.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh my God.
You're not, someone said this the other day. And they were like, you're not that age. And it's like, why can't I be?
Totally. That's such a good,
Like, why can't I be that age? Why can't I look just like this?
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Because we're made to want to fix or anti-age, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so interesting. So anyway, I feel like with time, with, you know, becoming a mom, whatever, I've still really held on to that same thing that I had in the pageant space, which was like really just loving yourself for who you are and working on yourself and like putting yourself in the relationship with yourself first, because then you can better show up for all those other relationships in your life, with your partner, with your kids. And I think for us women who are juggling so much, as you guys know, it's so difficult, but it's so important. And I think, yeah, it's hard to show up for yourself, but it's so important. So that advocacy, I think, from the pageant space has just kind of transformed into...
Which is so natural and so cool that social media has basically burst forth, you know, because maybe back when, before social media existed, we'd be like, oh, how do I carry this forward? You know what I mean? And now you're able to do that. I would love to know how you, either in the past or even now, like how you brought yourself to be such a confident person, you know, and really believe in yourself. And then if others are looking at you, you know, how your tips on that. What is your thought?
No, this was a question.
Like Erica's trying to hold.
This was a question I had before, but then I didn't ask it because you're like, I saw this ad on Facebook for like pageantry. And I'm like, okay, and I think this is kind of tagging on with you. I'm like, was this a natural thing? Like, was this, you know, like, were you like, yeah, I was in plays all my life and I like was very confident, or were you like, this is way out of my comfort zone? So I think it kind of tags on to what CJ's saying.
Okay, I see what you're saying. So I was a dancer for 13 years. Nothing crazy. I mean, I was from Moose Jaw, so whatever, as competitive as you get there. Yeah. No offense to Moose Jaw. Obviously, I'm, you know, love being from there. But I was a dancer, so I'd already been on stage. So it was a little bit of a natural thing, I think. I didn't really think about it, to be completely honest. And yeah, I think it maybe is a bit of I enjoyed putting myself in a scenario that made me nervous, but also excited of like, what could this become? Or what could this turn into? So I think a level of discomfort of like, let's do this. Let's like push the boundaries of what I'm comfortable with. Because of course, I feel like no matter how confident you are stepping on stage in front of people,
To be judged?
in a bikini,
I think you'd be a little bit, I don't want to say nuts, but a little bit like wild to not be like, I've got some butterflies going on.
Absolutely. So yeah, I think it was a bit of a natural feeling of like, yeah, let's do this. I love being on stage, but also I want to push the boundaries of what makes me feel comfortable, and let's get into that discomfort and see what can happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of like how do I be confident? I think that's like
build confidence.
Yeah, like that's a common question that I would get of a pageant contestant. Like, how do I be confident? I'm like, well, that's a good question, because I don't think anyone just gives you a piece of advice and is like, this is how you be confident. Yeah. But I think based on my experience, really getting to know yourself and like what you love, what you like to do, what your goals truly are, when you're really in tune with who you are and you know yourself, I feel like confidence kind of starts to come through. Because, for example, when I was first kind of like, okay, let's take the pageant thing to the next level. Let's try to go to Miss Universe. I at first was like, what do they want me to say? Like, who am I supposed to be? Right? Because I think a lot of us we don't even know who we are, or we don't even know who we're supposed to be, because society tries to pull us in so many different directions.
Well, and you were so young. Like, all I keep thinking on repeat is like, she had so much figured out at 16 to 20 that I'm just like, I don't even know how to critical think at that age. But like, wow.
I think some of it probably was a bit of like going, like, okay, for example, 16 to 20, I thought I wanted to go into medicine because I was kind of told, oh, you have good grades, you should go into medicine or engineering. And I was like, okay, medicine, because like engineering, I don't even know what that means. And so like, and you know, people think doctors are obviously so amazing. Oh, wow, they're a doctor. So I was like, okay, cool. That sounds exciting. So I thought from 16 to 20, like sciences, and what I should have gone into is like business, because I love entrepreneurship, whatever. So I think I didn't, you know, I was figuring it out. We all are, even we still are.
Yeah.
So I think the confidence thing to me, I was almost, I don't want to say I was forced into being confident, but I was always trying to practice interview questions. And so I was always trying to figure out who I was. And the more that I learned, the more experiences too I had, the more I figured out who I was and what I liked. And that's ever changing, because we can all change obviously with time. And I think the more that I was in tune with myself, the more confident I was in myself, because then I would give answers that I'm like, yeah, like, this is what I like to do, or this is my goal. And I think also being confident, this is where I feel like a lot of us can work on this, being confident in like not knowing the answer. Yes.
Lean into that.
Yeah. Okay. So many women I would see, I've also, you know, judged pageants. Women, I could tell they didn't know what to say, and they would just start rambling, and they would just, you know, not know what to say. And then someone would come along and be like, you know what? I actually don't have an answer. I don't know. I haven't thought about this. And they would say it so confidently, knowing they didn't know, that we're all like, yeah, good for you. You know, like, that's amazing. So I think we so often want to act like we know all the answers, but sometimes knowing it's okay to be wrong. It's okay to think you're right and then find out you're wrong and admit that. I think that also brings out some confidence, because a confident person can admit they're wrong, in my opinion, and be okay with that. It can be hard to apologize or say, you know what, I was wrong. I didn't know the answer. To me, that's a really confident thing to do, and something a lot of us struggle with. I'm sorry, what else was it?
No, that's great. You know what I was just thinking as you were talking? I was like, you probably have like a really good BS meter.
I think so.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like the way you're like confidence and like whatnot, and like answering, and I'm like sitting there and I'm like, she probably can like read people pretty well to be like,
I think so too.
You know, which maybe you're like, I don't want to like toot my own horn, but I was like, you know, like that's a skill, right? But like being around like traveling and so many people, right? And like seeing behind the scenes and like knowing your own confidence, right? I imagine that you're just like, you can spot confidence and non-confidence.
Yeah.
You know,
when people are really, you know, insecure with who they are, and they're trying to portray a certain image. But I always joke that my husband is a salesperson's dream, because he believes all the BS.
You're like, honey, stop listening.
I know. Hopefully he doesn't listen to this, but
He better.
I'm sure he will. But yeah, I feel like I'm there in the background being like, don't listen to what they're
Just like, but they called and said we want a cruise.
Exactly.
That's my husband. They said somewhere that like, if you want to like get in, like infiltrate a system or like a person or a group, you like find like not the kind person, but like, do you know what I mean? Like the like, and not that you can't be kind, but like literally,
whatever they say.
My husband and I were listening to something, and he was just like, that's me. He's like, if they wanted any of the information, they just come to me, and I'd be like, blah, 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 blah. And I was like,
That's so funny.
he'd be like, this is a great deal.
But he knows. At least he knows. He can recognize it.
He's self-aware.
He's very self-aware.
Anyways.
Hey everybody, it's Erica, and it's summer. And I don't know about you, but I want to stay busy with my family and not busy cooking in the kitchen. This is why I have to tell you about my latest find and business I'm obsessed with, Busy Bee Meals. How do stress-free, no prep meals sound? Pretty sweet, right? Busy Bee Meals is a women-owned business with a desire to give families more time to enjoy together. They take fresh ingredients and turn them into a beautiful slow cooker ready meal that you can enjoy with your whole family, or maybe even just for 1 or 2 people. These are not your typical slow cooker meal, friends. Busy Bee offers a monthly rotating menu with delicious family options like barbecue bacon chicken, home-style chili, and Korean beef lettuce wraps. Bonus, if you're interested in trying out Busy Bee Meals, they have given us a code. It's her Busy Bee, And by using that, you're going to save $10 off. I love that Busy Bee accommodates dietary restrictions such as gluten and lactose free and offer a variety of serving sizes for you to choose from. We all have different family sizes and different needs, and Busy Bee is all about making sure to hit each and every spot. You know I'm going to be checking out Busy Bee during harvest time this year. All the meals come vacuum sealed and frozen and delivered right to your front door. All you have to do is choose one, toss it in your slow cooker, cook an easy side dish if you wish, and you're set. Plus, ordering online is super easy. Select your serving size, 2, 4, or 6 portions. Choose any dietary restrictions you need to apply and select your quantities. You can purchase meals for a month, sign up for a monthly subscription, and purchase gift cards, which is a great gift idea. You can find Busy Bee on both Instagram and online at busybeemeals.ca and use the code HERBUSYBEE for $10 off your first order. That's at BUSYBEEMEALS.ca for both Instagram and on their website.
I'm interested because you even just mentioned the word like pushing the boundaries, and boundaries has been like a very hot topic lately. Like even on our podcast, we've like talked about it a ton in the last little while. And so I'm curious on how, in general, this can be a general question or specific, like how you handle boundaries in your life. Like you have this big platform, you also have children, you know, how do you handle the boundaries of work on social, but also like sharing your life on social? How have you navigated that?
That's a great question. I could say a lot of things, but I will say with boundaries, I'm still working on it. For professional boundaries, I'm better, I think, than personal boundaries, which I'm working on. Because I think with personal boundaries with friends, family, I feel like it's harder for us to say no or say that makes me uncomfortable. For example, when my son was a newborn, there was people wanted to come over, and I was like, and I knew that they were sick, and I was like, you know what? No. And I think with my daughter, I would have been like, okay, fine. Because I just, you know, with time, I think you get stronger and put up with less BS. And so you make those boundaries stronger. So I'm still working on the personal, family, friend boundary. Professional, I think I'm better because it's easier almost. Maybe, I don't know. I guess everyone's really different. For me, it's easier.
Well, there's not that emotional connection. Perhaps
that's a good point.
Well, and even just like with friends and family, they've known you through all different phases, so they're like,
That's
"Come
true.
on, Siera," you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
that's
they
true.
can
They
almost
give you
like
the
pull
nudge.
on like deeper strings,
or completely ignore it and be like, no, I'm not doing that. Or like, I'm doing it anyways and you can't stop.
That's true. No, that's a good point. So, okay, wait, what was the original question?
Well, I'm just curious on like
social.
Yeah, like even with social media, like I find being in the space we're in with social media, it's so hard to have boundaries with like even what you want to share.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. Or that notion of like, should I be sharing? Like, I just want to enjoy time with my kids, but should I be present on social right now?
Yes.
Or navigating sharing your kids even on social media? Like that's a
good
big
point.
hot topic. Like, I'm just curious.
Yeah. No, okay, that's a good point. So for myself, I think social media has been my job now for just over 4 years. So I think I don't think about as much, like, should I be present? What am I sharing? Because I think I just automatically turn it off and on and off.
Right.
But if I think about it, there are moments that I'm recording, but I've made a very specific effort that I now do it naturally. I have my phone recording because I want to capture something, you know, whether it be for social or myself, but I watch with my eyes because I think we often look through our phone, right?
Yes.
So I'm recording. I might not get the perfect video, but I have it like, you know, here or wherever it is, but I'm watching with my eyes because I think that there's like, my husband actually just said to me, were you looking at whatever it was, or were you looking through your phone? And he didn't mean it in any which way. But that's an effort that I've made because I think so often we're looking at this and we're not really taking in, oh my God, I'm so sorry, you guys.
No, you're good.
I'm not really taking in like what's all around. Oh my God.
You're good.
What's really around. So that's something. And then as well with sharing kids, I've seen a lot of people who don't show their kids' faces anymore. And I'm like, should I not be sharing my kids' face? I'm still, I don't know.
Like, does it make you second guess what you're doing?
Or
what you feel comfortable with?
lately, because I've seen more people not
I appreciate
showing.
the honesty.
Yeah. Lately, there's been more and more creators not sharing their children's faces. Or putting like an emoji over top. And I totally respect and understand where they're coming from. And it has made me second guess. I've talked to my husband about this. He's very like, I think it's fine. And you never know like who's watching and who's whatever, but there's different things. I don't know what you guys think about this, but obviously we never show the front of our house. Of course, we never like share our address. But I know people can like piece things together. So it's such a mix. I still show my kids' faces. So I don't know. It is hard. 'Cause I'm like, I love seeing people I follow, their kids and their life. And I want to share that, but I'm like at what, they can't make that decision. So I guess an example of that is like if we're recording something and my daughter obviously doesn't want to be in the video or something, we never record her. Like if but she always seems to be.
I'm like Lily loves the camera.
She's like, hold on, I have an outfit change.
Outfit number 2.
Yeah.
Look 3. Yeah. So it's I don't know. I don't have a good answer
No,
for that.
no
I think
no.
everyone's navigating that probably.
I think people are doing what's right for them and what feels good and what they're comfortable with, which I think is the most important thing. Like there are some people who are totally comfortable with having their kids on social media and there's some people that aren't. And I'm like, that's totally fine. I was just curious in terms of like how you navigate that with such a big following and being, I mean, you were at Miss Universe, so I feel like you had a lot of eyes on you at one point. And so I'm just always curious about that.
Yeah. No, I'm curious too. And I think something I've done less of for sure is sharing things like when I'm taking in social, I don't want to be overly optimistic and I don't want people to think that I'm only positive and that everything is always rainbows. But when I go on social, I want to see like positivity and inspiration. So I used to share some things of like the struggles of like my daughter, getting her to like, not struggles of her, but we really had a hard time getting like a good sleep routine. And so I would share that and it was a mix. Like when I see that from other people, I'm like, okay, I get it, but didn't come here to see that. But then people will be like, oh, thanks for being real. So it's kind of a mix. I don't know like how you guys feel, but I've tried to share less of that and more of just like real life, but still like enjoyable. Do you know what I mean? Like,
uplifting.
Well, I think we forget that everyone's account is their own.
That's so true.
I'm like,
that's so true. If you don't like it, unfollow.
Well,
right?
and what we've been having this conversation in our group about like authenticity and like what's authentic. And I think we went off in an episode a few weeks ago. We were
did.
like, what is this word? Like we're so sick of this word. Because we were like,
true.
it's not really for me to judge what is authentic to you.
That's so
and
true.
if some people want their feeds to be purely positive, purely curated, purely like this or that, it's like it's actually their page and no one should feel entitled to your content.
Yes. Have you ever heard of this analogy where it says like you would never, well, maybe some people would, you probably wouldn't walk into someone's home and be like, that picture's ugly, that carpet's gotta go, that paint color needs to be changed. So why do you do it for their social media? Because it's kind of their house, right?
Yeah.
And no, I think that's, it's so funny. Hey, how, what another one with authentic that I've heard is relatable. That's not relatable.
Yeah.
That's not relatable. And
Well,
I'm
not to you.
Right. And I just saw this woman who she lived in like this beautiful home in, I think Brooklyn or something, like at one of those beautiful townhomes. And I looked at the comments for whatever reason. She was moving or something. And people were like, who can get people to pack their stuff? That's not relatable. Like she was moving and she had these people come pack her stuff. And I was like, and they went off, like you're so entitled, rich, whatever, not relatable. And it's like, I think she was just trying to showcase that she's moving. I don't think she was trying to
She wasn't trying to be like, hello, look at my movers.
Look at this. They're packing my boxes.
But also, if you can afford to hire movers,
we would
the
all do
movers.
that. Are you serious? Like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
Like,
Anyways.
why?
But it is people, that's a more them issue. That's someone who's like,
That's true.
I don't have that. So therefore you shouldn't. And you're flaunting it in
true.
my face. And I'm like, that person should probably get off social.
I know.
also
If they
can
don't
just-
like a highlight reel, they should get off social media.
I know.
I can never just understand the people that take the time to make comment. And I'm just like, what are
And
you
the
doing
fake-
with your life?
Fake accounts, like fake accounts.
Yes.
It's so bad. Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you get a ton of social media hate?
I used to more so. So definitely, obviously, with the pageant thing. And then when my daughter was born, I was not expecting hate, but I definitely got like this one person and she kept making, this is what, you know how now you can block the person in any account that they create?
Yeah. Okay.
This was before then. So this woman, her first comment was something like, I hope you drop your baby.
What?
Yes. What the fuck? Yeah, I know. And then she kept making accounts and like putting all this like hate, like your baby's ugly, all this. And I'm like, oh, okay, you know what? say stuff about me, whatever, but why say stuff about someone's baby, their kid? What? I don't know. So obviously this person was very unhappy or very, something
Deranged.
Yeah.
I feel
really
like
bad.
I feel like
Sierra's like, they were not happy. We're like, they're freaking psycho.
They're worse. I remember that happening to Jillian Harris when when Leo was born. Yeah. And there was this whole thing that she went on and she was like, listen, hate on me all you want.
Yeah.
That's my child.
Totally.
Like, what is wrong with people?
It's honestly disgusting. Yeah. It
Yeah.
is. Yeah. It's
Someone
really
who has
bad.
time to be a keyboard warrior.
I don't.
You know,
get it.
I'm just like,
I don't. Get
yeah.
it.
Well, and I think when you just sit in a higher place of, more positive
True.
thinking, you're just like, how could people do that? You know?
How
What
did you
awful
get
life do you live?
Like, how did you get to the spot where you're just like, you're a loser, goodbye, moving on with my life? Like, did it ever just like get you in the heart?
Sometimes, yeah. And I think I'm way better now. Like
Yeah.
before, my husband would be like, Siera, just like, they're obviously so unhappy. Drop it, move on. But it would still be on my mind. I'd be like, F that person. Like, what's wrong with them? Like, whatever. Now I have to laugh. I'm like, you know what? It's ridiculous. Like, it's so almost comical. Like, some of the comments are almost comical. So sometimes I've like played with these people a little bit sometimes. Other times I'll block, like forget it, block, goodbye. Sometimes I'll be like, oh, you're right. Like, how could she do that with like the laughing emojis or, something like that. Yeah. And then at first I think that they'll be like, oh yeah, this person's agreeing with me. And they're like, oh wait, that's her. So I think it depends on the day. Cause sometimes I'm like, forget it, block, goodbye. You don't even deserve to see my videos, whatever.
Yeah.
But other times I'll kind of play with them and then block, because then they'll get usually more mad. Yeah. But yeah, it depends on the day.
Thanks for the engagement.
Exactly. Yeah, some things I can't believe. TikTok, I don't know if you guys find this, but I find there's a lot of haters on TikTok.
Not on the TikTok.
Not on the TikTok. The Tiki Talk.
Just the podcast is.
YouTube is worse.
Really?
Yes, YouTube is
we had
rank.
some bad comments on
rank.
YouTube.
Yeah.
Why, I wonder.
Yeah.
Like, who knows?
I mean, I have
knows?
theories, but
Oh, really?
Oh, should we talk about them on air?
Maybe I'll cut this part out. What are your theories?
no, just I don't want a blanket statement. I feel so
Men-
bad.
we love a blanket statement.
Like,
on
I'm
YouTube.
not a man hater in any way,
It's
but
men on YouTube?
But all the comments are coming from
see.
men
Yeah.
and just being like, and you're like,
oh my God.
okay, we'll go watch a different video then.
Right.
Like, didn't
Like,
ask
why
you
are
to
you
be
here?
here.
Why are you even here?
I'm like, go watch your men things,
yeah.
your tool things.
Like, I can guarantee you our podcast is probably not the space for you. Like, you
Yeah.
probably won't like our conversation.
You're not our target audience.
That's so
Yes.
funny. I can't.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
But I told someone, I'm like, if you get a real rank comment, that's ridiculous. Turn it into your next content piece.
yeah.
Which is what I would do. When
that's
someone
so
wrote and was like, how about you
smart.
get out and help him? I like filmed myself like pushing machinery with Nick.
Come on.
And then
was
did
like,
you have the
yes,
comment up
I
there?
said to the guy
Good
who
for you.
I said,
I love that too.
I was like, thank you for my next content
Exactly.
idea. And also
Thank you
I was
so
like, yeah, okay.
Thank you, Brandon 5763.
Yeah.
Welcome to the team.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, please more advice because this content was gold. No, but I'm like, I agree with you. I think I've always tried to approach hate with like, for the most part, laughter. Would you let Lily do pageants?
Everyone asks me that question. That's what I think. I've been asked that on every podcast. Okay, here's my thing. If she wanted to, I would absolutely. Like, if she wanted to, she, I don't want to say had certain reasons, but like if she was like, I love, being on stage, or I want to wear these beautiful dresses, like I would say yes at like 16 plus. Like I don't actually know a lot about like say those toddlers and I don't even think does that even exist here?
I have no
like
idea. I think that's
does.
In Canada, though?
in the US.
in the
In the
US.
US, it does.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
But I don't like it's so different here.
Yeah, it's so different. So if she wanted to, I would say yes, and I would be, I would be the support system that like my family was, because my family had no idea, but they were always like, "Go you, look at you go." Whereas I will say, some of my fellow competitors, even at teen, there was this one mom who was like, "Make sure you don't eat the pizza." Teenager. And I didn't think of it at the time.
No.
And then years later, I was like, oh my God, I remember that mom.
Yeah.
And of course, that girl was like, why can't I eat the pizza?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really sad. So would I allow her? Yes, because I know I'm like a supportive, you do you. Like, it's actually, this is so interesting. This starts really young, and I never thought of this, but like Lily has a certain style, right? She wants to wear dresses, whatever, and we let her wear that. We're never like, unless it's like -40 and she needs to wear a coat. But like, we have always let her like pick what she wants to wear, and people be like, oh, like she's so confident. Like, how is she so confident wearing that? I'm like, I don't know, because she's always wanted to wear it, and we let her wear it. And like, you let her wear that, or like you let her. I'm like, yeah, like that's what she picked. It's like, I think especially for kids, I think they don't have a lot of control over a lot of things, but they usually can have control over a choice over what they wear. And but if you take that away too every single day, then they're left with not a lot of choice. So I think some of those little things, like letting her pick what she wants to wear, and then if she decides she wants to do a pageant, I will be like, yes, you do you know, I'll be here. We'll see.
Yeah. That's such an interesting conversation though to think about. Like, I'm thinking about kids and how much, like, if you fuel and foster what they want to do and let them lean into it, but it's often like our adult, obviously, like insecurity, fear, like societal things that come at us that we're like, well, no, that's not proper. No, you can't do that. Or like, you know, you should fit into this box or mold here, you know, but like, yeah, we kind of like steal the childlikeness, you know, like accidentally, right?
With it, I think it's usually with good intention.
Yes.
Right? But it's,
I always tell Nick, because my daughter wears what she wants and she comes up and I'm like, I'm not the mom rolling up to family gatherings with picture perfect children. Yeah. Like, my kids are wearing like their Walmart special leggings with their H&M cat shirt. Like, they're just like, I'm here to, but they walk in very happy. And I said to Nick once, because Nick was like, I'm like surprised you're not like more. And I turned to him and I was like, I hate when people tell me, I would hate if people told me what to wear.
Right.
Like, I would hate it. Like, even as an adult, when I like hear about certain things, I'm like, I would like to wear what I will feel best in.
That's right.
And if she's going to feel best, or my son, who's adopted a very country look.
Oh my gosh, it's
no
so
way.
cute.
He wears like cowboy boots, a cowboy hat,
Like
and
a
like
belt.
a buckle, this big
So cute.
buckle. And I'm like, I don't know.
Like
It's
on
great.
the prairies.
Yeah, but I'm like, your dad's like a farmer. And like, he's just like takes, and then his voice gets a little bit low when he talks to. But like, I'm like, if you, every once in a while I'll be like, can we like untuck the shirt, honey? And he's like, no, I like it like this. And I'm like, okay. So just like letting them have that freedom where they can. I also listened to this interview with this mom. I don't remember who it was. And she was saying that what she adopted with her children, and this is probably when they were older, is she was like, I would tell my kids when they came to ask me for something, I think the word, maybe it's not the right, but she said like, convince me. And so she's like, my kids would come and I'd say, okay, convince me why I should let you do that.
Oh,
And she's like, it taught my kids to be critical thinkers.
Wow.
Because they would have to go and then come back and present, basically be like, here's why I should be able to stay out till 11. And like present a case.
I must
And
start
she was
using that
literally
now.
like, she's like, I
That's
would say
amazing.
90% of the time, I'm like, good point. Yes, you can do this, because they will have thought it out. She said it also
so
meant
good.
they would think, once we started this, they would think before they asked me.
Right.
Because they would be like, if I can't, like, is this actually a good idea? Or is this like,
am I just...
and she said, my kids have become extremely critical thinkers and
gosh.
learned how to like write.
I'm like, I want to adopt that for
Immediately.
myself.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know? I'm
Well,
like,
'cause I think, so often we just kind of act like, well, this is what you're supposed to do or supposed
Knee-jerk.
to say.
Yes,
Yeah.
the
And
shoulds.
then we go with it, especially as a parent. Like
Yep.
you are the authority, but you don't want to be the, stomping
Yeah.
on all the fun. Yeah, that's an amazing
Right?
Oh my
tip,
gosh.
point. Yeah.
Like letting her already choose to wear what she wants to wear.
Yeah.
Like, and of course I'm curious, are you going to let her do pageants? But I think you're probably already in a place where you're like, it's like, she'll decide that.
She'll know.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't even good. Like, she'll know
Right.
if she wants to do it.
Yeah. Actually, I have an interesting when we were talking about parenting, whatever.
Yeah.
When Lily now versus how I dressed her as a baby is actually, it's so contrasting.
Oh, okay.
So my son wears a lot of the stuff she wore because I
Yeah.
would dress her like unintentionally. I wasn't thinking to do this. I dressed her in a lot of black, like a lot of neutral stuff. Some girly stuff that people would gift us, but unintentionally I dressed her really neutrally. She was very bald. People always thought she was a boy.
I remember this from Instagram.
And so I noticed that people, when they thought she was a boy, they would say like, oh my God, you're so fast. Look at you go. Oh, you're so strong. And when they knew she was a girl, she'd be wearing like a dress or whatever. They'd be like, oh, you're so pretty. Look at your dress. And I'm like, frick, that's what still happens is us women. The first thing people say to us is something about how we look,
Yep.
what we're wearing, which of course, I mean, we all love fashion. But for men, they're from babies.
Skill
Yeah.
or personality
Yes.
or yeah.
We like to ask a final question.
Okay.
Which-
This is the final question at Miss Universe.
can you please tell us
Can you please?
world peace? No, I don't know.
Oh my god.
Miss Congeniality. I actually just watched that the other day.
It's a classic.
When I was getting ready. It was
So
like a
funny.
getting ready film.
it.
Anyways, we like to ask what the best piece of advice is that you've been given or that you like to give.
The best piece of advice I've like given or heard or whatever that I am still always working on is something I already kind of shared, is that the most important relationship that you need to work on, foster, is the relationship with yourself, because it really sets the tone for every relationship in your life, with your partner, your kids. When that relationship with yourself is strong, I really feel like it sets the tone for all those other relationships.
So important.
I love
so
that.
good.
Can you share with our audience, if they're not already following you,
Oh.
where they can find you?
It's just my first and last name, Siera Bearchell, SIERA BEARCHELL. That's it. That's my handle on
Love
Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. I think is the same.
Go give her a follow, you guys.
Yeah.
She's got
Yeah.
really great content. You guys will enjoy it.
Lily. It's never about us. It's about
I
the
know.
supporting actors that show up.
Yes. I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Siera.
Thank you. It was my pleasure. Thank you guys so much.
You're welcome. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on this episode of the Her Podcast. If you want to follow along with us, you can find us on Instagram and TikTok at its.her.podcast. We can't wait to see you there.
Bye.
Adios.